So exactly 11:11 on the clock. Well, now it's 11:12. But yeah, I've just been doing some writing. And I got up from doing the writing, walked into the kitchen and looked at the microwave, and it was 11:11 exactly on the clock. I looked at my phone. It confirmed also that it was 11:11 on the phone. I've been writing about my Australian family's military history in this country, and it's it's synchronised. So effectively, I'm writing a book. I've written a lot of the book already, but I've decided how I'm going to format it. The name of the book is this. So I figured I might as well just make this video recording to document the writing process with the book, because I guess I was, what's the word? Not triggered, but I guess I was inspired to do that when I looked at the time. As being 11:11, I thought, well, there's some synchronicity going on here. I should take advantage of that and document that being the case. It's worth perhaps in this little video showing where I got to. So I started writing. You can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, I can't see if you can see on this phone. I'm pointing the phone down at the book, so it's difficult to see if you actually get visibility. So that's the first page. That's the second page. I don't know if can you see it or not? Damn it, it's so annoying. This is the third page. I guess you can pause it if you want to read it. I've got to here. So I just got to the word uniform. Then I stood up from my chair. This is my chair that I was sitting in. This is the table. I got up. I literally walked to the kitchen, which is here, and I literally looked at the microwave oven and it said 11:11 on the clock. So I figured it's worth documenting that to show that this is the real deal, okay, what I'm writing here. Yeah, okay, so thank you. Have a great day or night or whatever you're doing. I know what I'd prefer to be doing, but she's not sitting on the couch right now, and she hasn't been sitting on the couch right now for 40 years or so. So I'm looking forward to the day she is. Thank you, good night. Now 11:16 on the clock. Yeah. This is my singlet I'm wearing today. This is what I like to be doing as well. I love the old pickup trucks. I used to have a great pickup truck before it was sold. I, having been foolish enough to have signed the transfer papers before I left it with the fellow. I left it with a Judeo-Christian fellow who I thought would, be a good person to leave it with, considering the circumstances when I was working in China. And I wasn't sure where I could leave my beloved pickup truck, which was a Ford F100 in a 70s model, Ford F100. Nice new beige paint job, beautifully restored, and I really needed it. logistically I needed it when I returned from Southeast Asia. I'd been working in China. I backpacked my way from China back to Australia. My travels went to pieces. I've written a screenplay about it that I intend to produce as a movie. It may also be part of this book I'm writing. And the upshot of it being, I really needed it logistically to be able to go from the Sydney airport. When I arrived at Sydney airport, if he hadn't have sold it, I would have been able to get the taxi straight to his house, jumped in the pickup truck and driven to Coffs Harbour, where I would have purchased property prior to the real estate boom on the east coast of Australia back in Coffs Harbour it boomed a bit late, so it boomed in 2002. So I would have had plenty of time to have purchased there had I been there, settled there properly. I won't get into all that now, that's part of the story. But yeah, the not having access to the pickup truck at that time was a huge friggin' hiccup for me. It was a real obstacle. And in Hebrew, you know, what does the word obstacle translate to? And yeah, and this fellow, you know, who's very much a part of the establishment in Australia, being as he is such an academic, I felt at the time didn't help my situation one iota by having sold my pickup truck. Especially when you consider I'd advised him that it was worth at least $7,000, at least, and he sold it for $3,500. It's not like that he didn't pay me the $3,500, but I would have preferred he'd not sold it. But apparently it was like such an inconvenience to him being in the driveway that he really had no choice but to sell it. So have I forgiven him? Well, did Jesus forgive Peter for betraying him, you know, when he did? Apparently Peter felt quite terrible about it, but I'm guessing Jesus probably did forgive Peter because, you know, Jesus being Jesus and everything. Anyway, my view on it is this fellow was, and probably still very much is, you know, part of the nanny state. He probably is like a gatekeeper of the pearly gates of the nanny state. Perhaps he was, when he sold my pickup truck, perhaps he felt he was doing God's will. Perhaps he prayed about it and God had said, yeah, don't sell his pickup truck, because God knew that I hadn't been as, you know, perfect as I might have been. While living in China, yes, I'd had a drink. I'd breached my sobriety, in fact. I had a few drinks there in China. And I tried to enjoy myself socially, so perhaps that wasn't puritanical enough for his God. And his God wanted me to know that these things don't go unnoticed. Just because I'm thousands of miles away in a different country doesn't mean these things don't go unnoticed. And his boy, you know, his gatekeeper here in the nanny state, there's a consequence, you know, and the consequence was my pickup truck, my beloved pickup truck, that I thought looked better than this. You know, it wasn't as retro as this one, but I liked it. It suited me perfectly. I felt there was something solid about it. It was firm. You know, there's a sense of, it symbolised sobriety. For me, it symbolised sobriety because I'd purchased it and restored it while in sobriety. So I hadn't been cavorting about town. I hadn't been carousing with carousers. I'd been very work ethic and diligent and vigilant and this sort of stuff. All the attributes. I've been living in my attributes when I purchased and restored this lovely vehicle that brought me so much pleasure. There's a lot of stories I have attached to that vehicle, and for me it represented all the best. It represented me and my attributes. It represented me living in my power, and considering the quite traumatic life I've lived, I even look at it. I'd look at it and I'd think, yeah, it's nice and firm, it's solid. There was something reliable about it, you know, and it never broke down. It was just the perfect vehicle. So I felt a great sense of loss with that, and at a time when I really needed it logistically. It would have made all the difference in the world. I'll tell you what sort of a difference it would have made. It would have made the difference of me being on the DSP. I'm currently on the disability pension for a mental illness. It would have made the difference of me being the guy I am today and being a multi-millionaire with a substantial property portfolio on the, what I refer to as the lower heavens of the lower north coast of New South Wales. Like it's not the other, I consider Byron Bay to be the upper heavens, like the heavens of New South Wales. And I considered Coffs Harbour to be the lower heavens. I could afford at the time to have purchased at Coffs Harbour, and considering I was about to come into an inheritance, I could have effectively 10x'd my inheritance by purchasing there at the time, and my intuition had told me this is exactly what I should do, and I was endeavouring to follow my intuition to do that. Yet as I tried to do that, obstacles were put in my way, like in a way that you could only begin to comprehend if you saw the movie, you know? So I'm not going to try to explain all that here and now. Go and see the movie when I've finally produced it. Perhaps Hollywood will produce it. I've actually spoken to a Hollywood producer about doing that. The feedback they've given me is I need to write another draft, so I'm currently working on the second draft, because what she's told me, this Hollywood producer, is there's not enough character real estate in my first draft of the screenplay. So effectively I have to identify all the nefarious actors, like the bad actors, behind the scenes of everything that went wrong, okay? In my travels back then in 2001, I'd been working in the World Trade Center in China, in Beijing, China, the China World Trade Center, and I'd left that job. It was a joint venture between China and North America. I was the Asia Pacific Market Development Manager at the company, at the corporation. And I figured I'll either go back to Australia via Russia or I'll go back to Australia via Southeast Asia. Anyway, I figured, well, Southeast Asia is just easier for me. I've never been to Russia before, so easier for me to pick my path through Southeast Asia. So I did that. That was 2001. 9/11 happened when I was in Phnom Penh in Cambodia. And not long after that, I received an email that my grandmother had died, my maternal grandmother had died, on the last day of September. And it was amazing to me that she was such a classy old lady. She was like the Australian version of the best of British. She was such a classy old lady. She chose to die on the night of the last night of September, prior to the 1st of October, which is, of course, the United Nations Day for the Elderly. So she chose to not remain one of the elderly. She chose to pass on prior to the morning of the 1st of October which is the International Day for the Elderly. And so when I received the email that she'd passed the night before, or a couple of nights before, I believe I'd accessed my email on the 2nd of October 2001, and from Laos. I was in Laos at the time. Some people like to pronounce it Lao, but I'm going to say Laos, all right? I don't really care how you pronounce it, whether it's Laos or Lao. I'm good with either. But I was in, I think it's called Luang Prabang, and after I read the email, I kind of figured, well, you know, I won't lie. I loved my grandmother. She was a very good person. She did a lot for me, you know. I believe I was her favourite grandchild, you know. I don't mean to have a dig at the rest of my cousins or anything, but, you know, I think it was probably pretty clear to everyone that it may have been her favourite. Anyway, so, yeah, there's a story about all that, which will be, well, it's mostly in the film, and the film is called True Error. That's the name of the screenplay. It's a very good title, I think, for a movie, True Error, and it's based on I come up with the name of the movie, True Error, because it makes sense. It's totally relevant to what the movie's about. Also, there is an equation, a mathematical equation called True Error, whereby I won't try to explain the equation, but if you look at my poster for the screenplay at my artist website, so you can go to my artist website, tommytrue.com, and you can look for a blog post I've written. I think it's called My Book and Film, or My Book and Screenplay, or something like that. I think it's in the Other Posts category. So if you go to the My Politics on the menu bar and you go to the sub menu under My Politics, there is Uncle Tomcat, and that's like more politically orientated posts, like more contemporary politically orientated blog posts. And then there's another tab titled Other Posts, and if you go to that tab, you'll find a bunch of posts in there, and I've written all these quite recently. Like, I did start writing posts for this website decades ago, and they're still on there. I've just set them to private. I may make them public in the future, or I may create a membership option whereby if you want to read some posts, you need to be a member and you have membership access. But anyway, you can read, I can't do it now on the phone, but yeah, if I try to do it now on the phone, I'll probably just end up somehow deleting this footage, which I think would be a shame. So I won't try to locate the name of the post, but it's pretty clear. I think the cover image may even be the screenplay poster, where you will see the mathematical equation on the poster, the true error. It's a formula, okay? So it's a formula called True Error. It's I believe it will be a great movie. I really do. I just need to get the second draft correct with all the character real estate. This is the hard part, trying to figure out who the nefarious actors are, okay? That's the most difficult part of the whole thing, because I'm still trying to figure out who they are. And, you know, I'm high-level naval intelligence, and I'm trying to figure out who the heck they are. So any help will be much appreciated, whether it's from the banking system or the military system, or God, you know, or whomever may have information to help me figure out exactly who's who and what's what. You're welcome to contact me at my artist website. Just go to the Welcome tab on the menu bar, click down to the Contact page and message me from the Contact page. and I may or may not, depending on the message you send me, get in contact with you about this. I'm also interested to meet collaborators, people who have editorial skill or writing skill in order to complete the best version of the second draft I can for the movie. And if you have experience in this sort of stuff in the film industry, in writing scripts and this sort of thing, and you're interested to be part of the project, there could be I could include you in the royalties in some way, if there is a profit made from all my hard work. And anyway, so yeah, if you're interested in sacrifice and service, yeah. So if you're interested to be part of the project, contact me and we'll have perhaps we'll have a discussion if I get back in contact with you, and something may come of it. Okay, it may be a win-win. Same thing with the book, because I've been trying to write this book for like 20 years, and I still haven't written the damn thing. Only tonight have I come up with how I'm going to format it. And I'm going to format it in the way I've just shown you on this video. So this is actually an important video, because I got a good 20 years of work. So I haven't just started writing the book. This is just like the synopsis for the outline of the book, how it's going to be presented, and all of my stories and so forth are going to be presented and formatted in the context of the book. And I'm also writing another book. If you go to my Twitter or my X, I've got it pinned to my X profile. That book is called The Last Man Standing, and it's a different sort of a book. It's more of a fiction, but it's a fiction with a message, I guess. It's a fiction with a message that may resonate for certain types of people more than other types of people. So I'll do a bit of self-promotion here. Go to my website, tommytrue.com. Check out my social media profiles. Subscribe. Follow my X, follow my Instagram, follow my YouTube, follow my TikTok, subscribe to my website, all that stuff. And as I said before, have a great night. It's now 23 minutes and 10 seconds I've been on this video. I've probably said too much, and whatever. I've got to go to my video song demos on my website, where I've done my DIY video song demos, essentially original songs where I've videoed myself performing them, and with a view to producing my original songs. So if you're like a music producer in the music industry and you like my original work and you want to produce some of my original songs, contact me like decades ago, okay, when you should have originally contacted me, and let's do something worthwhile, okay? Thank you, and good night.